we figured it had to be somewhere over 1,000 years between the folks that are here with the families. I mean, I know Waitsell's family goes back, is it 400 years or more? Long ways. Yeah. So between them, there's a lot of experience in the room, and they've seen a lot and experienced quite a bit. And so we just feel real fortunate to have them all here at the table. So I kind of sent these guys a list of some of the questions that we were thinking of. I wanted them to have a chance and not surprise them too bad, and but kind of just wanted to go along with the idea of the rest of the day, talking some about diversification, and each one of them has done something different from the other as far as diversification goes, and that's part of the idea of this program today. Is that, you know, it's kind of a joke, the title of the program, Blueprint for a Profitable Mountain Farm. Well, there is no blueprint necessarily for it. It's a case by case and figuring out what fits and works for you on your farm. And so it was important that we bring that out, that there are a lot of different ways to be successful in your farm business. And so that's what we hope to get out of this today as well. So the way we're going to run this is I've got a series of questions, and we're going to work our way down through most of these and give each one of these gentlemen a chance to answer that in their own way. And then if we make it through all of them, I want everybody here to be thinking about questions that you may have for them as well, and hopefully we'll have time at the end of the session for folks in the audience to ask that as well. So with that, we'll get started. And Doug, if it's all right, I'll start here on this end. And we've got the microphones here, so hopefully folks can hear us well. I guess kind of one of the first questions I'll ask is how did you decide what direction you wanted to go with your diversification plan, and how did you get to that point? Was it obvious, or did you work your way in, and how did you get to that point?
Well, I think to begin with, you decide again every year. I think every decision you make is an evolving process. 20 years ago, when I came back to the farm, we had been in the dairy business. We closed that down, and we were growing barley tobacco. And so my dad had really backed off in the tobacco scenario because of his age. Well, I came in and really started growing a lot of tobacco again. Then I saw, well, 1999 was the last year we grew tobacco. But during the 80s, I looked at what did I see a potential in, and I decided I would go in Christmas trees. And we had the land to do that, but we also wanted to maintain the pasture land because I didn't want to put all the eggs in the Christmas trees. And at this point in time, I'm glad I didn't. But we maintained the beef operation and the tobacco. And those were our primary focuses during that period of time. As you look at the evolution of what's taking place in these markets, the Christmas tree market, as those of you that are growing Christmas trees know, has become quite challenging. And so, looking at that as a change, looking at where the tobacco going away, that meant we needed to evolve again. So we started looking at how do we maximize other avenues. We had pasture land for beef cattle, so we began to expand that. And again, that evolved. Did a lot of research on what I felt was the best breed for our area. And I settled on Limousin because they had a good conversion, grass growth rate conversion. A lot of things I was looking for in grass-fed beef, so we enhanced that. Then again, 2 or 3 years ago, when the Christmas trees were really going down, I realized that we had to do something else, and so I looked at what could we do that would bring traffic into the farm, and how would we enhance that. And so I actually applied for one of the ag grants, and I've since gotten 2 grants. One that was $15,000, and that took the old dairy equipment that we had. We still had 2 of the big stainless steel milk tanks. We had all the old milk producing operations we still had. So how could I use that? We decided to go back into producing sorghum molasses. sorghum syrup. And so I built a big building behind the old milk house and refurbished the old milk house, cleaned it all up, and it had been a junk pile for 20 years, or 30 years. I mean, you couldn't even get in it, it was full of trash. But cleaned all that out, repainted it, built a big building behind it that had the capability for people to come in, built a big grill, and bought a 1901 cane mill, refurbished all that, and started making syrup. And we'd have a big molasses field day with the grass-fed beef, do that kind of thing, bringing traffic into the farm with that. I also had been looking at having that as an asset for the choose and cut Christmas tree operations. Well, past 2 years, to get to my farm, you drove by 25 different signs that said Christmas trees $10 a piece. And so, again, that created another evolution. So we decided we would go into produce and start doing that. And we did do that for the last few years. That is a very viable operation. But again, I think we talked about legs earlier this morning. I think you have to look at your legs and what we want.
I was a early tobacco grower, believe it or not, from the time I was 7 years old. I had to work with my dad's tobacco when I was a kid. I was big enough to drag a bucket of plants or a bucket of water across the field and fill up a hand setter. And he gave me a roll of tobacco when I was 7. I made $17. So I grew tobacco every year for 55 years. One time we grew about 30 acres of barley. And I thought that was the only thing that a man could grow to make any money. And I grew cabbage, I grew corn, I grew cattle, hogs, done about everything. But tobacco became so unprofitable in the last few years that we had to look at something else. It was ridiculous. Tobacco, you have the same amount of hours you put in an acre. It hasn't changed in 50 years. Same hard work. But the prices never went up. They went down. A few years ago, when you bought a tobacco product, it said 85% domestic tobacco, 15% or 10% foreign. Now it's the other way. It's 15% domestic, 85% foreign. So that's a message right there. It tells you to go do something. They asked us about the year 2000 if we would be part of the Golden Leaf project in Watauga County to grow broccoli. And I grew broccoli one year 25 or so years ago for a guy that had a restaurant route. So I knew how to grow it, and so I got into it. I grew broccoli. We had a little trouble selling all of it because we didn't have a marketing system in place. It was haphazard. I threw away a lot of good broccoli. I donated a lot of good broccoli for tax write-off. The next year, we grew more broccoli. And we started adding things in the fields, potatoes, cabbage, just things that I was comfortable with and I knew something about. And we started picking up markets. And I was still donating a lot of produce to church-based group that gave it out to people, good themselves. And I got a tax write-off for it, which was a lifesaver. But we weren't selling all of it. We worked and worked and finally got a marketer now hired for New River Organic Growers, which is a co-op we formed in Boone, I guess 10 years ago. Now, So